I'll share my screen now, just let me know if you can see it. Can you see my screen? Alright. You can see the presentation, right? Okay. Yeah, one more thing, I usually mention it at the beginning of the class. This tab, I have muted this tab, this meets tab, to avoid the ting ting noise when someone new joins. Okay, one of you has raised their hands. Do you have any doubt, or do you want to, Sravya Kumita, do you have a doubt? Okay, never mind. Let's just start then. Yeah, I hope the slideshow mode is visible. So, okay, so welcome to the, okay, just give me a second. I made a small mistake. Yeah. Yeah, welcome to the 4th week of problem solving through programming in C live session. So let's first start with a quick recap of what was covered in week 4. Equality and assignment. So in week 4 we saw more about if else nesting of the loops, sorry, not the loops, nesting of the if else statements and else if and other things. Then we also saw about loops, so like types of loops and all. So in if and else we saw equality and assignment. So to check something, to check if it is something to equal or something, we use two equal to signs, and to assign something some value, use one equal to sign. Okay. Then we saw officially saw post and pre, increment and decrement. So last week we did cover a few questions on that, and I think I briefed you briefly on what they mean. And then we saw the ternary conditional operator. So if anyone has worked with Excel, this uses kind of the same syntax of the if statement you use in Excel. So we have a statement, we have a condition that we have to check if it is, the condition to check, and then we have one output to give if it is true or if the condition is satisfied, else, comma, else. So this syntax is not the same, but it is somewhat similar. Okay. Once I open the platform for discussions, which I'll be, please extend week 5. Okay. Yeah. Then we saw repetitions or loops, and two types were counter controlled and sentinel controlled. Okay, just give me a second. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, we saw counter controlled and sentinel control. So basically we define an exit condition of when we should exit the loop, and then finally saw while and do while statements, and even for was mentioned. Yeah, so for and while. So we normally use for and while. Do while we don't use that much, but it is necessary to know that. Okay, so let's start. Yeah, this we covered in the last class, but the problem with this was I just checked week 4's assignment, which you have to submit by tomorrow. And I saw a question similar to this. So in last week we covered the first part to just check whether it is first of all to check whether it's a triangle or not, and then to check whether it is if it is a triangle, to check if it is equilateral, isosceles or scalene. And we saw two methods in which we can do that. We can either give a condition that it is not a triangle, I mean when it is not a triangle, and that we did using or statements. Okay, or statements we use for that inside the if to check if it is not a triangle, and else it is a triangle, and we go inside else, add more ifs, and we check if it is equilateral, isosceles or scalene. Okay, and one more method we saw, that we first our main if condition checks whether it is a triangle. Okay, so first method was to check if it is not a triangle and then go to else. Here it checks whether it's a triangle, and for that we'll have to use and condition. So one thing with and condition, one sometimes the drawback is it is only valid when all the conditions are true. That is only when it is true. So it has to check all the conditions. Okay. Yeah, same thing will be valid for or if we talk about it being false. So both have their pros and cons. And then I said as homework I gave this to check if it is a right angled triangle or not. So a right angled triangle can't be equilateral, but it can surely be scalene or isosceles. And then if it is a right angled triangle, we I said return its area, and else return its perimeter. But this right angle triangle part is actually part of your 4th week's assignment, so I can't do this. So instead of continuing with this, let's just go to the first task for the day. Okay, so yeah, I have this code which uses a ternary condition. So what will be the answer? I'll give you, so I start with y equals 8, and I give t is, and this is just one line, so I'll not give you more than 4 minutes. Okay. Sorry, more than 3 minutes. So it's kind of straightforward. Okay. T is, I mean, I have defined y as 8, t as 5 into 6 plus this one condition is there. Okay, so you know what it means. Now you have to solve. So I'll just give you, I'll start the timer. Okay, you have 3 minutes, and open queue. Yeah, John, you seem to have a doubt. I can't unblock the chat now because people will just answer it there and let not, and that actually prevents some people from actually trying it on their own. Okay, so just wait for the timer to end, then I'll unblock the chat. I know you don't have a mic still, so just So guys, it's time's up. I will unblock the chat so you can, if you have. Yeah, and Kshitij Singh, this extension of assignments, quizzes and all is not really under my control. So yeah, so I have posted a, I have launched a poll, so I hope you guys can please answer there. So I've gotten 6 votes till now, and yeah, 7 votes. Most of you are saying 3, so we can just find out what the answer is by typing the code. And yeah, sorry, chat. Please check my code. Okay. Oh yeah, actually I should have. Okay, so John, when I give time for the next question, I'll use that time to check your code. Okay, is that fine? Just give a thumbs up if it is fine. I mean, yeah, okay, cool. So yeah, so I should have like let you comment, but anyway. So most of you have answered 3, so let's just check what the answer is. So yeah, I'm using this compiler today. Yeah, I hope you can see the screen. I mean, I'm sure you can see the screen. So yeah, it's just one line, right? Int y equals 8. Int t equals okay. So like most of you answered, the answer is 3. But one small change I'll make. Okay, I'll actually make it bigger because it looked too small. I think now it will be better visible to people, I hope. Yeah, so one small change I'll make here is what happens if I remove the brackets. Okay, will it still work? I'll just add a space here for my sake. So we know that, so this ternary condition that is here, what we know is whatever is to the left of my question mark is my condition. So if that is true, then I will print this thing 4. If that is false, I will print 3. Okay, so here y is 8. So 5 into 8 is 40, and when I had the brackets, when I had the brackets, it says that 5 into 6 is what, 30, 30 plus 12 is 42, so 42 is less than 40, hence it is false, hence I will print 3. So what happens if I remove the brackets? Can someone just write in the chat, will it still be 4, sorry, will it still be 3 or will it be 4? I mean, will the condition still be false or will it be true? Just think for a second and just answer, just type. So the fastest way to find out is by doing it. Okay. So I'll remove these brackets and I'll run it. Okay. It still gives 3 because here using the brackets is a good practice. It is safe. I mean, you will not get confused. But here you don't need to use the brackets, but it is good if you use, because now that I don't have the brackets, if I don't know how ternary operator works and I see it for the first time, I'll think, okay, so 3 into 4 is less than 40, so hence it's true, and t is basically 5 into 6, 30, 30 plus this is true, so 4, 34. So that is not the case. But what happens if I just put a bracket here? I'll run it. It will give me 4 now. Okay. So it just took this. It ignored this 5 into 6, and it just returned the output for the condition. Okay. So so that is what happens. If I showed you in a last class that in if I declare something and I put comma this, comma this, comma this, to see the condition is true or not, it will check the rightmost thing. It will check the last thing that I have entered. So if I write something like here, if I write 0, 1, 2, 3, then this means true because it will only see 3. But if I change this to 0, it will only look at 0. That means if is false, if has not been satisfied. Okay. So this thing works in a similar fashion. I will not say same, similar fashion. So that is why only this has been checked because of the brackets. So that's why it's a good practice to use the brackets. Okay. It completely ignored the first part. So what happens when we use ternary condition like this? I'll just write 1 here and I'll run it. So like I said, if 1 means true, if 0 means false, right? So here, so 1 means condition is true, right? If I write 0 here, it is still printing 4. Okay, wait. So now it is printing 3. So yeah, because there was no comparison, so it didn't know what to check. So it checked the whole thing, to its left, right? So if I had here 5 into 6 plus 0, right? And this 0 is in brackets. But since there is no condition here, it's not, if I write something like if 0 is less than 1, then it is true, etc., etc. But it's not doing that, right? I don't have any condition here. So it is basically, so it is seeing this whole thing, and since 30 is not 0, 30 is so something which is not 0 means it's true, right? 0 means false, not 0 means true. So since this whole thing is 30, it's not 0, it is true, I'll run and it will work. If I remove this, now I'll run it. Now it is false. Okay, and if I just change it to 1, let's say, it's still true because 1 means true. Okay, so that is one way you can, I mean, I wrote ternary condition like I write if. I mean, if I say if 1, if 2, like that, I'm not exactly checking a condition, I'm explicitly telling it that it is true or false. I mean, it knows it does not have to check anything, it just has to see, it has to see if actually check if the value is 0 or not, but no actual relation or condition has been checked. Okay, so small things that, I mean, you may does 5 into 6 get ignored? Yes, that's what I said, right? Because it is it is to the it will only see the, what is that called, the rightmost section here. So if gives me an output, yeah, it will not get ignored if I change it to, if I want it to not get ignored, what should I do? Okay, I don't think this will run. Yeah, because I can't declare int like this. So yeah, like I said, it will just get, it will just that 5 into 6 part, when I add the brackets appropriately, it will just get ignored. Put bracket where? Put bracket where? So I hope this was.
That condition will return 1.
Which condition?
So which you have putted in the bracket 0 is less than 1.
Yeah. So is 0 less than 1? I mean, say yes or no. Is 0 yes or no?
Yes, sir, yes, it is true.
Yeah, so it's true. So it will. So its value is 1. Hence it will. I mean, sorry, its value is not 1. Its value is true. So the condition is true, and it will return 4. Okay. So I'll just run it for everyone's sake. Yeah, right. It's 4 because it's true. So yeah. So 5 into 6, when I began, how I started. So I basically said there was no bracket here, right? I just said 4 into 3 less than 8 into 5 into y, right? When I run this, it will say 3 because it will check this whole thing. And if I just put this in the bracket here, it will say, oh yeah, sorry. If I do this, then it will just ignore this. If I want it to be inclusive, I'll just add a bracket here, and it will be 3. Okay, so let's just move on to the next question. I'll stop sharing this. I'll go to my presentation. So now what I'll do is I'll block the chat. I can see the old messages. Okay, so Anyway, yeah. So you did answer the question in the polls. This is at arrow. I'm not able to find. Okay. Anyway, so let's go to the second question, second task. This is something to do with while loop. Okay, how the while loop works, etc., etc. So I have a code, right? So int I have declared 3 integers and I have declared one of them to be 0. So my 3 integers are k, n and y. I want its value and I perform some mathematical operations while n is not equal to 0. Okay, so what should be the result? So I said printf yeah. So input for n is right. I have written printf and enter an integer, scanf. I have scanned the value of n. So y and k are inside my function, sorry, my code, and n is given to me by the user. Okay, so n is here 16735. That's my input. So you have to tell me the answer. Okay, so you have I'll give you 6 minutes to do it, and then you can.
Sir,
Yes, can you repeat?
reverse the number.
Okay,
Reversing the number, I guess.
yeah, very good, very good. Yeah, since someone has already answered, I'll cut short the solve time to 3 minutes. Some people know, some people don't know, so that's why I ask you guys to wait till people have attempted it. But anyway, So time's up, and since one of you answered that it just reverses the number, so that's the answer.
Yes, sir, it will reverse the answer, no?
Yeah, yeah, it will reverse the input. Okay, let's.
Sir, but in voting you have given compilation error 4 and 3.
Yeah, yeah, that was a previous poll. I didn't create the poll because someone just uh, answered the question when I posted it. I mean, they just unmuted themselves and they just answered. So I didn't make a poll. So wait, someone is saying something in chat. Yeah, Mr. Banerjee. Are you facing any errors or I mean, because code looks okay, or maybe is there maybe this, yeah, I think this scanf percentage %c and operator, you may be better off using getch. Okay, so for character input you may be better off using getch. So find out about that. And I think this week's lecture, it started with getch, right? Professor Basu explained something about getch. I mean, not in detail, but he did explain something about getch. Anyway, uh, let's just move to the next question. I think the chat is. Oh, the chat is. Oh, yeah. Sorry. The chat was logged. So, yeah, whatever error you have encountered, just write that in the chat. Okay, I'll move to the third one. Uh, input 22 plus output 25. Oh God. Okay. I'll just keep that in mind. Yeah. I'll just keep that in mind. We'll move to the next question, and while you guys are attempting that, I will just look at it once more. Okay. So next question is about increment and decrement, post increment, pre increment, and all. I have three integers x, y, and z. So just a minute. Question 2, little confusion. Yeah. Uh, yeah, Tamil. Just a minute. Yeah, Mr. Tamil Nason, can you unmute yourself and just let me know which part was a little confusing. Okay, fine, but I'll just go line by line. Yeah. In question 2, results are getting added.
Can you uh, give us a question number 2? The increment decrement after this task 3.
No, just wait. Someone has a doubt here, so let's just go with that. I mean, let's just clear the air first, then we'll. Results are getting added. Yeah, this while is outside the loop. Sorry, this printf is outside the loop, outside the while loop. Okay, so keep that in mind. Value of n is 16735. Value of n is 16735. So I start with k as 0, n is 16735, and my and my loop says while n is not 0, I can carry on. So what is y? Y is 5, right? So 16735, when I divide that by 10, I get a remainder of 5. So I start with y as 5, k is 0, so k is 10 into 0 plus 5, k is now 5, and I change n to n by 10, and since n is an integer, this 16735 by 10 will be 1673 and not 1673.5. Okay, because it's not a float value, it's an integer, right? So how did y become 5? First line in the loop, n modulo 10, so 5 is in the ones place, so that is my remainder. Okay, so now n has become 1673. So when I take that modulo thing, I will get 3. So k was 5, so now k is now 50 plus 3, k is 53. So that way, if I keep on doing it till the end, I will get my output as 53761. Okay. So it is basically reversing the number. Cool. So I'll move to the next question, if it is fine. Second one is like I explained, there are three values x, y, and z, and I have this expression z star equal to plus plus x by y minus minus. So I mean, yeah. So what is the output? I want to print x, y, and z. What is the output? So
Sir, 42, 9, 12.
Very good, man. Oh, you said 42, 9, and 12, right? Okay.
43, 8, 12.
You all have answers, so So do we have an answer? Some people have already. I'll just create a poll in a minute. So 42, 9 and 12. Okay. So 50, 10 and 12.
42.
Yeah. Just answer in the poll, okay? You don't need to say it out loud. Then we'll discuss it. Yeah, the poll is now live. I hope you guys answer it. So we are getting kind of mixed answers. Again, we'll discuss the pros and cons of this thing. Not pros and cons, the difference between plus plus I and I plus plus. Okay. So 41, 9 and 3. Yeah. X 41, Y 9, Z 3. Z star equals plus plus X by Y. So let us just run this and see. So 42, 8 and 12. Okay, I don't know how some people got 9. So yeah, so the value of y is 9 in this line, right? The value of y is 9 in this line, but once I cross this line, the decrement has been done. So it becomes 8. Okay, so what does this star equal to mean? So I'll just write plus plus equal to means if I write I plus equal to j, it translates to translates to I equal to I plus j, right? So if I change this to let's say if I change this plus to divide, so it will translate to I equals I by j. Okay, easy, same thing. It doesn't mean not equal to. Okay, not equal to would be this thing. So if I have a star here, it means I equals I into j. Only one equal to is there. Okay, so I am not comparing values. I am saying the new value of I is I into j. So here the new value of z is z into this thing. So plus plus x is free increment. So it got incremented there itself. So x here itself it became. So it means increment then use the value. right? And x plus plus would mean use the value then increment. So that is post increment. I am incrementing post usage. So in this thing, so it doesn't depend on the line, because once I cross this x, it has become sorry, it is plus 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 plus, right? So it has become 42 and y. So I'll change this to x plus plus. Now let's see what the answer is. Same answer, because doesn't really matter, because whether it is 36 or sorry, whether it is 41 or 42, the closest multiple of the greatest multiple of 9 below this is 36, so which gives us 4, right? So I mean 9 into 4 is 36, so this doesn't really matter here. What plays a more important role is this. So if I change it to same plus okay, x plus plus, and if I change it to minus minus y, then my answer will change. It will become 15, because y here itself has become 8 and 42, or this is 41. Okay, yeah, when I touch this thing, when I reach this part of the line of line 5, x has become 42, but when I use x here, it is still 41. Okay, post increment, I'll first use the value then increase. So according to my computer, in this operation, x is still 41. Yeah, but now the value of x that is stored has become 42 here itself. I go like step by step, right? So 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10, like that, but it is still using here 41. So 41 by 8, right, because I am using minus minus y, so it has become 8. So 41 by 8 is 5, sorry, yeah. Even if I make it plus plus x, same thing, 42 by 8, 41 by 8, both are 5, so 5 into 3 is 15. So z star into 3 will be z equals z into 3, right? So that is the main thing here. So so the people who got 9 as the answer, so it is as of y, it is wrong, because here it is using 9 to compute the new value of z, but once I cross this, the decrement has been done. Okay, the decrement has been done and it is 8. That's all. Okay, so people who said 42, 8 and 12, they are correct. I have, yeah, so more people are saying 42, 8 and 12. Okay, so hope this was clear. I have, I think 2 more things lined up here. So I'll present the presentation again. So now people are saying 42, 8 and 15. Okay, I mean, yeah, you might get those answers because I played with the values a little. I'll end the poll now. Okay. So yeah. So this is the next task. Yeah, so this you have to code this. Okay, using switch statement, and wait, I'll just block the chat so that else people will write the code and paste it on the chat and not let other people try. So right. Okay. So the task here is you have to write a code which takes in an integer value, it can be 10, 15, 20, whatever. It checks if it is a multiple of 2 or 3 or both, okay, or both, and if it is not, of course it will print statement saying it is neither. Okay, so so yeah, you have to use switch case to do this. Okay, so that's the task. You using switch to do this. I hope you know how to the syntax and all of that. Okay, so I'll give you 10. Before doing that, is the task clear? Just raise your hands if you have a doubt. Else I'll start the timer. Okay, so it is, I mean, quite straightforward. The timer for 10 minutes has been started. Write the code and we'll meet in 10 minutes. turn on their mic and explain what thought process went into it. You can raise your hands and I'll give you a chance. Yeah, Yamini, can you unmute us? Oh, okay.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Have you completed the problem?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so can you give a skeleton of what you did? I mean, what condition you used here?
Firstly, we declared. Firstly, I declared two R1 and R2 as a reminders of if we take a input n and if we divide with modulo division with 2, if and we stored it in R1. If it is equals to 0, then I printed it as multiple of 2 and R2 is equals to modulo division with 2 with 3, and if R2 is equals to 0 and I printed it as a multiple of 3, and in if I use it AND operator, if R1 and R1 equals to 0 and R2 equals to
Okay,
0, it is
just wait for a minute. I told you to use switch statement, not if. So if it is more or less, I mean, forward with if, I asked you to use switch case here. So yeah, I'll unblock the chat. People can. So anyway, but if you got the answer, that is good. I mean, good attempt, I guess. So now I'll let's just see what I was looking for, or I mean, or one way to write it, right? It's not. So goal is okay. So let's say my number is I don't know z. Okay, not z, n. Okay, so int n. I'll ask the user to enter an integer. So it being integer is very important. Right. Anyone saying anything? Okay. So I'm not looking at the chat now because I'm writing it on my own screen. So if I don't be active on the comments, don't mind. Okay. So yeah, so switch. Right. So what I want to check is if it is divisible by 6 or not. Okay. So I opened this case. First case is 0. I'll say sorry printf it is divisible by both 2 and of both 2 and 3, right? Then I'll add a break here because I don't want unnecessary things. Then I have case 3. Okay, so I'll just write here in this thing. Let's say I have one number 18. Okay, 18. So if I do 18 mod 6, I get 0, right? And 18, as we know, it is both a multiple of 2 and 3. 2 into 9 is 18, 3 into 6 is 18, right? So what if I take a number, let's say 15, right? 15 mod 6 is what? 6 into 2 is 12, so remainder is 3, right? Remainder is 3, okay, I'll start with 2 first. Remainder is 3. So, sorry, again, my bad. Oh God, I'm sorry for the confusion. Okay, so yeah, so remainder is 3, so let's ignore this, let's say 10, okay. So when I do this, what do I get? I get remainder as 4. Okay, I just made a small mistake. I have to, yeah, what does the chat say? So let's just first counter 3. Okay, so if it is 3, 15, this would be 3, right? Yeah. Oh, yes. Or oh, here if my modulo is non-zero and it is even, right, that means it is a multiple of 2 but not a multiple of 6, and if my modulo is 3, that means it is odd. I mean, of course, right, because something into 6 plus something odd will not be a multiple of 2, but if it is 3, that means it's a multiple of 3, because let's say 15 is there, so 12 plus 3, right, 6 into 2 plus 3, if I have 21, it will still be 3, so 3 into 6 plus 3 is 3, so 21 is a multiple of 3. So if I have 3 as my output or 3 as my value here, then I'll just simply say, what will I say? I'll say it is a multiple of 3 only. Okay, I mean, only is a weird word here, but I mean, since I'm checking for only 2 and 3 here, I can say 3 only, and I'll break here. And what did I say? I said, yeah, I said in before. So in the case I have any even remainder that is less than 6, I mean, of course, so a remainder can't be 6, right? So if I have something, let's say 2 or 4, right? So I have 10, I have 4 here. That means it is a multiple of 2, right? So I'll just copy this. I'll give one case here. I'll give one more case, and I'll change this to 2. I'll change this to 4. This means they are multiples of 2. Yes or no? I mean, yes. So if I have 8, it will give me 2. So 8 and 10 both are not multiples of 6, not multiples of 3, but they are multiples of 2. Finally, I have default. I'll just print f. I mean, I'll just print neither. Okay, and then so let's say, so input here is what should my input be? Yeah, so this compiler, one small issue is that I have to mention the input. Okay, so if I run it, it will just keep running. I mean, it will not ask me for the input. So that is, yeah, it will wait for, I think, some seconds, and then it will just say failed. So I'll have to enter my input here itself, then I'll run it. So enter an integer, that is 10, and I say it is a multiple of 2 only. Okay, is that clear? I use switch to do that here. So let me do one more. I'll say 11, neither. Okay, yeah, so I have this phantom enter an integer hovering here. So yeah, please, what's your doubt? So like I said, if the remainder is 3, that means, yeah, since I have a non-zero remainder, it is not a multiple of 6. Yeah, 24 is both 2 and 3. So since I have a non-zero remainder, it is not a multiple of 6. But since remainder is 3, that means it's a multiple of 3. So I can, if I subtract 3 from that, I'll get the closest or the highest multiple of 6 below that number. So if I, that means that is a multiple of 3 as well, and if I add 3 to it, it still stays a multiple of 3. Okay, and same case is with, so with 3 we know that it's just 3, but with 2 the problem is it can be, I mean, it has to be even, right? So and since I'm checking here with 6, I have 2 numbers which are even that are below 6. So that is 2 and 4. So that remainder can be any. And see, if a remainder is odd, let's say 5. So 5 would be what? 17, right? So if I run that, it's odd, right? So it just straight away goes to my default statement and it prints this. And I hope you know the significance of break. Is this logic right? Okay, so did you try, can you please explain the switch case in brief? Yeah, just give me a minute. Let me just see the rest of the chat. Why are we using case 2 and case 4? So yeah, see, both are multiples of 2, correct? But what is going inside my switch is n mod 6. Okay, so the remainder I get when I do n divided by 6, and that can be what, so I have to consider both 2 and 4, because if I don't consider 4, so I'll just do this, right? I'll give 10 here. So it will say neither, right? Which is wrong. I need to consider both 2 and 4, because any even remainder, where is case 1? Oh yeah, so here, so yeah, switch. So this just shows that your question is legit, you don't really understand switch. So there is no, it's not like case 1, case 2, case 3. So all these values, so see, I'll just briefly explain switch in under 2 minutes. So I need to check the value of something, okay. So this is my, n is my input here, and that is 10. So 10 mod 6 is 4, and these are my cases. So if this value is 0, it's not case 0, case 1. I mean, it is not the index of the case. like first case, second case, third case. It's not like that. It is straight away the value. So if this value n mod 6 is 0, I will print this. If this value is 3, I'll print this. If this value is 4, I'll print this. If this value is 2, I'll print this. I mean, same thing. And if all these fail, I mean, if this is not one of these 4 values, I have a default statement, that is else. So in Python, instead of default, you write something called otherwise. Okay. So instead of a default, it is called this, and this honestly makes more sense, but never mind. So John, did you get what I said? I mean, is switch a little more clear, I hope? Switch. So why are you, Shreya Prasad, did you try writing this on your compiler?
Yes, sir.
So it works?
Yes, sir, it worked, but if we take the input as 19, then it's wrong.
Oh, okay, let's see what is wrong with that. I'll just copy this. Okay, so what I'll do is I will comment my work. I'll paste yours. So you said the indentation is slightly. Case 1 PF, so this printf. So this is what you're saying, right? Case 1 printf. What? Oh, right, and okay, nice. So that is one more way to do it. So if this thing is true, that means its value is 1, right? So if both are 0, that means its value is 1. That means I can say case 1 and I can say this thing. And if so this is, you are actually making it a lot more complicated than it has to. So you are using, so 10, does it work with 10? Yes, multiple of 2. When I said 9, it says multiple of 3. Oh, you said 19, right? Yeah, because you don't have any default, condition here. That's why. You don't have any default condition here, and it says multiple of 3 here because it is stuck there. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, you need to add a default condition here. Default printf. Just write none here. I don't know. Now if I write 19, okay, why is it saying multiple of 3? Oh my god. So K0 means it's false, and yeah, this code is actually quite wrong because see, this will be false in many cases. So the fact that you say that n is odd, right? So n is 1, right? It's odd. That means it will just say multiple of 3, which is not true, right? I mean, there need to be more conditions to say that it is. So this basically says if my if the number is odd, it is a multiple of 3 and not a multiple of 6. So any odd number, I'll put 17 here. It will say that multiple of 3. So that is not correct, right? So that's why, because there are more odd numbers than I mean, I hope you know your mistake from this. I'll.
Yes, sir, got it.
Okay, cool. So, Vamshi, do you want the input to be 21? It says multiple of 3. Oh yeah, I think Vamshi wanted 21 as the input for the second code. But anyway, I hope it is clear. Let's move to the. Do you have any doubts? Anyone? No doubts? Okay, then let's just move to the next problem. I think that will be the final one for the day. Right. So as usual, I hope my screen is visible. So yeah, this is actually this is quite easy. So you have to. I have not mentioned it in the statement, but it's mentioned here in the top for. Okay, so you have to use a for loop here. So write a C program where the input is x and n. So I need two values. Both are integers. Okay, you can also play with float. I don't care. But yeah, you will have to define the sum as float. So keep that in mind because there is division going on here. And yeah, I would say even x you define as float but give an integer value. Okay, to avoid confusion. Because else if I define that as an integer then try to divide, it will give me garbage. Not garbage, it will do integer revision and it will give something 0.0 as the answer because sum is float. Okay, so I hope you know this, what this means. So this means summation. So summation of I equals 1 to n times 2x square by x cube. So x is what I'll give, right, and I is how many times I'm performing that summation. That is also what I'll give. So I need the sum. Okay, I need a program that takes these two inputs. X is float, n is an integer, and the output should be this thing, sum. Okay, so yeah, I think 10 minutes are enough. Yeah, yes, Mr. Banerjee. The chat is like active, so you can ask away. Yeah, by the way, did you try getch? Yeah, I have started the timer over there for this question. So people who do I have to sum again and again in for the loop? So I've just closed the chat now, and this you should know, I guess. This I can't answer because this is part of the task. So if I tell this thing, then I mean it's a small thing, but if I reveal this, then it would make it a lot easier. So timer is on. We'll meet in around 9 minutes, let's say. Yeah, so time's up. Chat's open if anyone wants to say anything. Else I will just. So no one is raising their hands now, so then I'll just carry on with the solution to this. So someone was asking, do I have to sum again and again in for the loop? So you just have to write one line here. So I declare sum as 0, and in the loop I'll just write sum equals sum plus x number. Okay, so it will just keep on getting added. So I'll just start the for loop. So for the people who remember the syntax for the for loop, so I can write here 1 or 0. I choose to write 1 here. If I write 0 here, I can just remove this. Okay, so 0 to n minus 1 and 1 to n, it means same number of repetitions, right? So the loop will run n times regardless of the number I give. Regardless of how I write it, I can write I equals 0, I less than n as a true condition, and I plus plus, or I can just write this here. So in some programming languages it is hard, your screen is not visible. I am terribly sorry, I wasn't sharing the screen then. Now is it visible? I think it should be visible now. So what I said is I started with int n float x, two values input. I also declared sum as 0.0. Then I said this is the syntax for I equal to 1, I less than or equal to n, I plus plus. This will run n times. Okay, n times. I can change this to I less than, I can start with 0, I less than n, so it will go 0 to n minus 1. So if we include 0, it will still run n times. That is what I meant. Okay, yeah, sorry for the communication lag. So I'll just, I like to start with 1, that's why. But in some programming languages, it is coded in a way such that you can only start with 0. So I think Python is one of those. So but this we have the freedom to start with wherever we want. I can also start with 2. I can say 2 and n plus 1 here. Same thing, it will still run n times. Okay, so and if I want only sum of even numbers up to something, right? So you might have encountered problems like that, but that may be an assignment problem, so I'll not cover that now. But there are shortcuts to do that, so I can just write here something like this. Okay, never mind. So let's just yeah. So what was my thing? It was summation of 2x square by x cube. Okay, so sum equals sum plus, I like to give spaces here for, I mean, it makes it look less cluttered. Okay, sum plus so 2 into, I mean, 2x square by x cube, right? So we'll first use this, then we'll see if the power operator works, which is you know, this operator above the 6 on your keyboard. If you use shift 6, you will find this. Okay, now I'll say printf the sum is sum. So inputs will be let's say input is, let's say x is 1 and n is 5. Yeah, so one more thing, I have to also declare I. So I didn't declare I. Sum is 10. Yeah, so since x is 1, sum will be 10 because it is basically oh, this question itself is kind of very bad, because I am not changing the value of x at all. I am just changing the value of n. So I'll just wait, I'll represent the slide again to let you know what I mean. So I framed the question very poorly here, because it says, so this basically means whatever value of x I give, let's say I'll give 5, it will compute this and it will just multiply it, I mean, it will just do that same thing, it will just take the sum 5 times. Okay, so that is quite horrible. So that's what happened. X was 1, so this thing is 2 and it's running 5 times, so 2 into 5 is 5. So I'll change this to x equals 1 to this thing, and I will remove this. Okay, I don't want input of x, input, the input is n and output is the sum. Okay, so this is the modified task. So I'll just show how I can edit that one to change it. Okay, so I have I here, n here, I have float x here, of course, right. So sum is this. I can actually yeah, sorry, x equals x plus 1. So one might ask me,